Your investigation into the death of the man called Unigwe has led you, finally, to this fancy restaurant known as Limo One. The three of you have now entered into this building and are surrounded by members of the Beckamorty. These men and women are armed with crossbows and clubs that they currently have holstered, dressed in their fancy suits with their chrysanthemum flowers. One of them steps forward, a bit shorter than the others, with beady eyes and quite a large hooked nose. He looks at all three of you for a moment before remarking, Guess you're not here to see anyone else other than Livio. He says it, Pam, in a strange way. Interesting. You think to yourself, the Beckamorte are known for using codes and passphrases.
I wonder if Oleg and Giulietta have picked up on the tone of his voice. Have they picked up on it?
Well, you don't see any reaction from me. You see that I'm looking to you, almost about to speak.
And I'm generally a little suspicious of everyone, so maybe a hint.
I'll let Oleg speak.
No, we all good friends. No need for that, I say, and I point at the crossbows. Just come to speak.
Yeah? Well, you get how it is. He's busy right now. He's serving some very important guests, people from your top brass. I'm gonna be in trouble when I go up there and knock on the door and disrupt things, you know.
Who is he serving?
Is this vital to your investigation, Citadel?
Yes, it is.
People from your place. I don't know their names. But they'll be up there right now.
Any of you were friends with, I think, worker here, Unigwe?
Everyone regards you quite stonily and says, never heard of the guy.
It's a shame. Perhaps we hope that Livio remember his own employee, at least.
The guy shrugs. Would you like to attempt something here, Oleg? If you wish, you could try and intimidate these people with hearts and maybe make things move along a little quicker.
Yeah, I just stretch a bit in the armor and I tap the side of my head with one of the armored gauntlets. It's a clink, clink, clink kind of sound as I say, "You sure you not remember anything?"
I'm going to allow your intimidating presence here to let you play 2 cards. So please play 2 cards. Do you want to match hearts or get over 8?
Well, I have 2 hearts cards, so I'm happy to get a nicer success. They hear a bit of a whirring sound from inside the armor, slightly menacing as the steel blades inside of it reaffix themselves.
The man tries to stand his ground against you, but you notice there is a bead of sweat falling down his forehead. All the others kind of glance around a bit nervously. The guy says still quite confidently, I have no idea who this Unigwe is, but you know what? Fuck, if you want to talk to Livio, then it's on you. It's on you. We ain't here looking for no trouble. And they all kind of chuckle among themselves, but they're also backing off a little. Immediately, one guy begins going upstairs. You see a big stairway just to the left, and he's running up there. And then this guy says, all right, look, just come with me. You can talk to Livio, and then you can leave us alone. We're not doing anything here. It's a perfectly legitimate business.
Yes, I did not see any one of you raising those crossbows.
Exactly. None of us did that. Pam, what do you think? It seems Oleg has got you through. But yes, the Beckamorte are quite tense. They could easily turn on you if things went badly.
I think we have a strong sense of what's happened, and we're just trying to get more information of how they were involved. Can I ask some questions?
Due to Oleg's success as you begin making your way upstairs, you can. Is that what you do? You as well, Gulietta? Does everyone begin making their way upstairs, following this man? The others stay downstairs, it seems.
Yes.
Then upstairs you head. Pam, feel free to ask a question as you go up the stairs with this individual.
I'm thinking about how to ask the questions in a way that will get me an answer to where they were at the time of the suicide.
You are skilled at this to know that no one here is going to answer any questions implicating them in a crime without force. And maybe that's the point. Maybe at this stage, ask a question that isn't about the Becca Morte. Focus on Livio. They're taking you to him. They're taking you to people. Focus on that sort of thing. They will not answer your questions about the Becca Morte. They don't want trouble, but they are willing to kill if cornered. They don't care about life. That's one of the reasons they are able to be as successful as they are. They think people dying in this age is fine.
As I have a new-found bond with Gulietta, I ask her if she would like to be the one asking the questions for a change.
Oh. Thank you. Well, if you think that would be best, I'll give it a go.
Well, I feel that perhaps it will make you feel more involved.
Thank you. I'm sort of nodding and looking a bit more relaxed.
As you're walking up the hallway, approaching a long double door, feel free, Gulietta, to ask a question of this person before you get to these double doors.
So, do you often operate out of here? Is this your base, or just a temporary place to meet?
This is a restaurant. We work here. What are you getting at, lady?
Sort of raise an eyebrow at him, like, okay, restaurant.
Yeah, perfectly legitimate business.
And do you own any other restaurants? I mean, I've heard the food here is wonderful. It'd be nice to know if there are more in the city. Is this your only base of operation?
Nah, Limone is a lovely little restaurant, and we all work here. And hey, I ain't the owner. That's Livio. He owns the place.
Anything else you want to tell us about Livio?
No. And then at that, you arrive at the double set of doors, and you see the other man knocking. You hear some commotion from inside, and this guy goes forward and says, "Right, you go in there. Livio probably even in there or around the back. You ask him your questions, and then you go. And nobody needs to have any trouble."
I think about my air taser in my pocket, concealed in my pocket, and I think, there's any trouble, you're in for a shock, quite literally.
And if no one says anything, the doors open, and you are led into this dining room. You find yourself in a wonderful restaurant room, surrounded by fine red curtains, gold statues. It's truly quite a lovely place. In front of you is a table with a bunch of men and women looking very confused, all wearing what is expected of the builders, the architects of the city. One man has stood up. He is heavily bearded, white bearded. He is an older looking man, but you can easily tell he's had a few modifications. His skin is a bit stretched, meaning he has had some plastic surgery of some kind at least. And behind you the doors have closed, leaving you for a moment alone in this room. There is one other entrance to this room, another set of double doors to the left. So you've just come in, next to you, to the left, double set of doors, big square room, and of course on the right are the windows. And this man strides forward. "Goodness me, what is this? What are you people doing here? This is a private room."
I'm going to stand to the side and I just take on my best impression of looking official on military business, or militia business for this case.
Are you Livio?
What? No! Girl, who are you?
Where is he?
Livio? He's at the back, getting the dessert ready. Who are you? You're here from the Citadel? Who's your superior? I'll have a word with them.
who is our superior.
All of your superiors is Inspector Manetti.
I'll relay that. I'll say, Inspector Manetti. Assume you've heard of them.
Well, of course I have. Very well then, I'll have a word with him. What are you doing here, disrupting this? This is a private meeting.
We are investigating potentially a very serious crime.
Huh? Nonsense. What? Serious crime? Why have you come here? Do you know who I am? I'm Ezio Marugi.
Does that name mean anything to us?
You, all three of you, wouldn't really be familiar with the name initially, but looking at what he's wearing, he must be one of the head builders. You think you recognize the insignia? One of the highest-ranking scientists there is. Not the highest, but one of them.
But with Giulietta's lack of social skills, she would just go, I'm sorry, I've never heard of you.
How surprising. Let me guess, you have a look at one of those scavengers. The ones who hang around the dumps and just take old-fashioned technology. Goodness me, girl. Huh, did you even dress? This is a very fancy restaurant.
Maybe you sit down, you continue with your own business, and we will talk to Livio when he comes out with your lovely dessert.
This man looks a little annoyed at you, and again, he's giving you a bit of a look, Oleg. He doesn't respect your authority. After all, you are aware that you are not allowed to kill unless self-defense. So you cannot just go and rough him up. If you do, you'd actually be the one in trouble. And he knows this. Fine, then! I don't know. Terrible. We're just in the middle of discussing an important scientific theory. Goodness me. And he goes to sit down. All of you then notice as well the singing. It is indeed coming from this woman. You can all see now this beautifully dressed woman. But she's standing dead still in the corner. Not moving at all. Just singing. You can't even see the lips moving because she's wearing this strange mask. What do you do, Pam? Oleg.
I look at her. Is she moving at all, or is it just she's absolutely still and it's just a mask and the sound?
It is a perfectly still being. Just singing.
I turn to Oleg. I ask him if he brought the letter with him.
The little pieces? Yes. In my pocket, inside the armor. It said jukebox, friend, reward, place. You think this is jukebox, this thing?
Yes. I think this is jukebox.
Well, go over to the jukebox and see if you find something, maybe.
As you go over to step over in that direction, the man seems agitated and stands up. Be careful with that, that's my construct. It's extremely advanced technology.
I say I will be careful with your construct. We just have a few lines of inquiry regarding a letter. I turn to Oleg.
And as she turns to you, Oleg, you just see out of the corner of your eye, behind the other set of double doors, movement. The double doors burst open. A man enters the room. He's wearing sort of a very nice suit with a jacket on, but he's also got a bit of a lapel, some sort of lapel around his neck. He seems to be in his 30s, 40s, balding a little, and he just bursts forward into the room quite loudly, and he starts approaching the table, and he says, "You fucking bastards! You bastards! It's not them! It's not them!
Do you kiss your mother with that mouth?
Who the fuck are you?" This man turns to look at you both. Ezio goes toward this man and says, "Livio, calm down, my dear. What are you talking about? You stay away from me. You stay away from me. You fuckers. It's not them. It's not them. They lied." What do you do, Pam? This man has suddenly entered. Ezio called him Livio. He seems very agitated.
I stand in front of Giulietta. I feel like she needs protection.
Yes, you step forward and start guarding her. You have a sense that something is about to happen. You have a knack for these things. This is a heated argument. Oleg, what do? You see Pam moving behind you to sort of stand defensively in front of Giulietta. And again, yes, this is Livio apparently, but he's just burst in. He's barely paying attention to you. He's screaming at this Ezio, and this Ezio is telling him to calm down. What do?
I step forward and I say, I suggest everyone calm down. Livio, we have question for you.
Questions for me? I'll answer whatever you want. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And he turns around him and says, they're in here! The people who did this to you, they're in here! You see movement from behind this man called Livio. Shambling into the room are two constructs. You recognize them immediately, Oleg. They are farming constructs. They have the bulky shoulders, they have the tools on their arms, their hands. But they just are stumbling in, very animatedly. As they do, one of them looks a bit taller. Possibly a woman, an older woman. You think, again, half the face is no longer there. The face isn't required for a farming construct, so they cover most of it with a sort of plastic sort of mask. But you can make sense of the general shape and the hair, and the one behind her is a smaller girl? A girl? Or not a girl, a teenager. You think, that's what you think. You've seen many constructs. They sort of shudder into the room. As they do so, you hear them saying, in a strange, sort of very raspy fashion, words. The one on the left is saying, husband, 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 where, husband, husband, where. The one on the right is saying, mama, 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 mama. Your battle instinct kicks in. These constructs are malfunctioning, Oleg. What do you do? People are about to be injured very soon if you don't do anything. The scientists are standing up, looking horrified, looking to you, and looking to the exit.
Alright, I say to the scientists, get behind me.
The scientists buckle off the table and begin running towards you. Ezio looks as well and begins running towards you saying, malfunctioning constructs, you three, do something! And Livio just collapses to the ground and starts weeping. Pam, what do? You see these constructs moving towards you very fast. They are clearly malfunctioning and very dangerous. They seem to be targeting the scientists. What do you do?
I look at Oleg and I say to him, what are you gonna do?
I think I'm going to panic and try and help and get out my taser.
You get out your taser. Oleg, you hear Pam say this, the scientists all start running behind you, and yes, one of these constructs just stares you dead in the eye, the bigger one. Husband! And just charges at you, hands ready. What do you do?
As soon as I put myself in between the scientists and them, I will eject the long extrusion blades from the sides of my wrists on both sides, and I'll charge in to cut these things down.
And thus we enter a fight. Oleg, you are first. You charge to these beings, again activating your retractable blades as one use of your ammo, as it were, but it does allow you to already have a success in having more than one target, so whatever you do will affect both the individuals. So, this is of course a steel roll, this is a physical roll. You can play 2 cards, for you are very skilled at combat. 1 success is required to do damage to both of them in this case, because you get that little extra as well. More successes will be good, however, this is very dangerous, there are several consequences here. One of them is that they will attack you. Your armor, though, will hopefully keep you safe. They also will exhaust you. You will have to discard 1 card. And finally, they also have a potential to stun you, meaning that you will then be unable to act for the next action. Again, you can use successes here to cancel out some of the things I've said. So, what are you going to play with your 2 cards?
I have 1 diamond, which is steel then?
Yes, that's right. Diamonds is steel.
Yes. So I have 1 of those. Unfortunately, is an ace, so I can't pair it with anything to get it higher than an 8, which would be necessary for 2 successes. I would like to push it to the limit, and I'll discard 1 of my cards to see if I can draw something better. And it's a joker.
Joker? which is a critical success. That is your special Joker card, giving you an additional 2 successes. So you charge forward, your retractable blades coming out of your hands. You stab both of these individuals, dealing your 4 damage to both of them. But you also have 2 more successes. What would you like to do? You could cancel one of the things I said. Maybe the stun. The stun's the worst thing here.
Yes. So I will use my first success to swipe with both blades at both of them. I will use one to cancel out the stun of myself, and the last one then to try and cripple one of them to avoid them getting at one of the most important people there is about. That's all I see it. The military mind tells me that these are the ones that we must keep safe, and it's the scientists.
Indeed. And so you swipe at one of these things' legs and it falls to the ground. It will certainly not be going anywhere else. It will only be dealing with you. And again, they are both damaged. If they were normal people, they'd be dead. But constructs are no longer alive in the first place, and they are filled with some sort of passion, rage. You haven't quite seen this before, except in the worst malfunctioning ones. But this is very strange, and they keep speaking as well. What on earth is going on? Pam, you see Oleg burst forth and begin attacking these beings. He manages to bring one down to the ground, and the other kind of just flails at him. It does do some damage, however, but luckily, Oleg, your armor is able to repel that damage. So while it claws at you with sort of like strange needle-like fingers, it doesn't actually cause any damage. But you do get a bit exhausted by all of this, and you do have to discard a card, I'm afraid. But otherwise you're fine. Pam, what do you do? He does need a bit of help. These are constructs. You think normal people would be dead by now, but these things are still quite dangerous.
Can I use any extra gear, or...?
You can use your weapon. If you think you have any gear that would do something, you can. What sort of gear do you think would help here?
I'm not sure.
If you just want to do something simple, you can just go and you could attack the one that's downed with your club. Because it's downed, it's only going to do potentially one thing to you.
Right, so I will do that. So I attack the one that is down with my club?
Excellent. So, yes, this is a steel roll, so diamonds.
I have a 2 of diamonds.
There you go. If you play that, that would be a success. You run forward and smack the one that was on the ground with your sonic truncheon, whacking it hard over the head. Again, it takes damage, but unfortunately is able to swipe at you. Now, you do have little armor, but not as much armor as Oleg. You take 1 trauma to your steel. Now, luckily, the first level of trauma of the 4 levels you can take does nothing. It's just narrative. So narratively, you have been cut across the arm, but you're still fine. You're okay. It's not that bad a cut. As you back off, it is now you. Giulietta, what do you do? They are attacking these things, and they're doing okay, but they need to take these things down soon. Constructs can be very deadly.
I am going to take my air taser, and I'm going to zap the one that just got Pam.
You do so. As you are far away, because your attack is ranged, I will say there are no problems here for you. So please just do try and get a success on gear for you. It is you using your gear to shoot. You're using your taser because it has a special ability. So yes, spades is what you want. You can play 2 spades.
I'm going to have to discard because I don't have any spades in my deck.
If you have no cards you can play, yes, you have to discard 1 to draw a wild.
Okay.
And keep in mind, as your cards are running out, that is a bad thing.
That is a bad thing because it's an ace of hearts.
You fire your weapon, but unfortunately you notice that the tasers just sort of fly not into the thing's head, but its side. And the electricity goes in, but nothing happens, because you think it's a construct. It's not. That's not where the mechanics are. It's just flesh, dead flesh. And unfortunately, you don't do much. Oleg, it is your turn. Due to the actions of Pam, one of these things is currently not much of a danger, but the other one is still a threat to you. What do you do?
At this point, I only have one card left, and it's not a steel card.
Remember, if you wish to risk inaction for a whole something could happen to you, you will be able to take up your hand of 6 cards, but you will be fully open to something attacking you.
Let's do that.
So, Oleg, remember that if you wish, you can open yourself up to attack, but regain all your cards as a quick rest in combat. The price of this, of course, will be that you are completely open. Do you wish to do this?
Yes, I'll do that. I'll get in the way of the remaining flailing ones as I retract the blades from my arm, getting them reloaded, so to speak. I try to just be in the way, get Pam out of the way now that she has engaged with one of them, and be the one that they would attack.
Indeed. Luckily, the one that you've crippled is still barely trying to get up and is distracted, but sadly, as you open yourself up, the other one that you have badly injured just rushes forward, smashing their tools into your armor. Normally, this would not get through, but in this case, unfortunately, you do take 1 steel trauma as you just brace yourself against this force and fall down to the ground. You also lose a card to exhaustion again as this thing just jumps on you and starts ramming. If you weren't in your armor, you would be dead, but luckily, you're going to be okay, at least for a few more seconds. Pam! Oleg has been rammed down to the ground by the one. The other one is sort of in front of you, still kind of staggering to get up. What do you do?
Can I pull on my sonic truncheon?
Yes, you can.
I use it against the last remaining construct.
You do. I'm going to allow you one more time to have no consequences here because the thing was crippled earlier by Oleg. So please, once again, just play diamonds. 1 success is enough to do damage. Any more is always good.
Okay, I've got 3 of diamonds.
That's great. That's a success. And you can play a second card from your hand. Do you have any more cards in your hand at this point?
I do.
Oh, good.
I've got a 5 of spades.
Well done. You have successfully got 8 as well. That is a second success. If you want, this could be a type. You could do what Oleg did earlier, extend the range of this attack, and you'd hit both the opponents for damage.
Do I have to do anything extra to be able to do that, or can I can just ask to do that?
You can just ask to do that. It's your choice. There's other things as well. You could do another status condition on this enemy. You could keep them down on the ground. You could inflict some trauma damage, which actually means they have less things they can do to you, but that's not really needed here.
If I extend it, then I take out both of them.
You won't quite kill one, but you will maybe kill this one.
Okay, I'll go for that then.
Very well, tell us what you do exactly. You can describe this. How do you clonk both these things on the head with your truncheon? You tell us.
I take out this truncheon. It's got these spikes on them. They're really, really sharp. I sharpened them recently. I lift up the truncheon and I bring it down with heavy force. It lands.
Indeed, the one that was already hobbled goes down. It was the younger... You find yourself thinking for a moment, the younger one, or at least the smaller one. It isn't quite dead, but it is now kind of just on the floor, kind of just twitching, saying, Mama, 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 Mama.
I pull back out the truncheon that has wedged itself into the construct, and I blow it against the other one.
Yes, and that one you're able to whack off Oleg. Gulietta! One of them seems down. I mean, it's not quite dead or broken down, but it is now down. And one of them is still kind of standing. It's reeling around. It turns its head. It's going to go for Oleg again, you think. But again, you could fire if you wish. What do you do?
Yeah, I'm just going to give it another go.
You can. You want spades, and you can play 2 cards.
Well, I'm out of spades, so I'm going to have to discard one and take a wild card. Okay, that's a two. 2 of spades.
2 of spades. That is enough. You fire your weapon. It does minimal damage. After all, it's a stun gun, but the most important thing is it does stun the being. It begins sort of just twitching where it stands, back and forth, screaming very loudly in this gurgling voice. Husband! Husband! Oleg, you're back on your feet. This thing is stunned. What do you do? One's down on the ground, and this one here is twitching in front of you. What do you do to it?
I hear the reassuring click of the blade being reset into its launching position. I hold out one arm towards the one that has now been stunned, is twitching, and I hold it up towards where I think it's the most vulnerable, at the same time as I'm holding out my other hand towards the one on the floor, meaning to ruthlessly, completely incapacitate it.
I am not going to make you draw cards here. You did just refresh yourself, and they are no longer quite able to defend themselves. You will charge forward and execute them both. Your bladed claws going through their heads. You know, that's the most weak point on a construct. This tires you out a little, but other than that, there's a bit more struggling, and then the room is silent. Pam, you take a moment to catch your breath. There's a man, there's Livio, weeping in the corner. The scientists are all kind of at the door, looking very confused. The Becca Morte kind of just come into the room, but they all look very stunned. They're all looking around, clearly not sure what's going on. What do you do, Pam?
Well, I'm wondering whether I can also reach for my repeating crossbow.
You certainly can.
I take out my repeating crossbow and I aim it against everyone, but not my team.
Well, you do this, and, well, the scientists just look at you confused. The Becca Morte kind of just look at you, look at the room, look at the carnage, look at you, Oleg, and they all just start backing off, and then you can't see them anymore. Giulietta, what do? You notice that Pam has her weapon ready. These things are no longer moving. They are decommissioned. And yes, the mob seem to be quickly vacating the area.
Where is Livio?
The man who called himself Ezio just sort of steps forward and says, There, that madman! He has brought faulty constructs in here! Arrest him at once!
I'm going to go to Livio and I'm going to say, what was that? What was happening? What was that?
I just wanted them back, but it wasn't them.
I'm going to awkwardly hug him.
He blinks, clearly surprised at this.
I don't really like hugs, but people tend to like them. But yeah, maybe you need one. I'm sorry. Were they your loved ones?
No, they weren't. The Becca Morte lied. They were just 2 random people, and it doesn't wake them up. It just makes them worse. You saw it just makes them worse. And then he sort of just suddenly points to you and them. It's all them. Those fucking animals. Animals, all of you.
I say, that's enough. We are here on official investigation of the death of Unigue. We have reason to believe that he found something in one of the farms that he was helping this organization use. And we have footage proving this.
Livio looks at you from the hug he's giving Giulietta, tears in his eyes. Hunque's dead as well? Oh, Hunque, I'm sorry.
Do you know why this happened? I feel utterly surprised that he didn't know about the death of Unigue.
I'll tell you everything. You hear that, Ezio? I'm gonna fucking tell him everything. You just promise me. Him, all of them. They're gonna work, they're gonna pay for what they did. Ezio kind of just interrupts. This man is clearly insane. We'll be leaving. You feel free to arrest him, and goodness me, this is terrible. What a shame. I thought better of you, Livio. I thought better of you.
I pause for a second, waiting for Pam to give the order of either we contain these people or we let them go.
Pam, you have a man who says he's Livio, apparently going to tell you everything. He's also pointing at these very important people and saying it's all their fault. This is a tricky situation. It's got a lot more tricky than simply investigating one man's death, it seems. I'd say one thing that springs to your mind at this point is to call for backup.
Yes. I remember that I have backup, and I reach towards my ear and I call into my earpiece, backup, send backup now.
And backup will be sent. A few things happen over the next 10 minutes or so. Several militia arrive very quickly. You are, after all, in contact with them, and very soon the entire building is being cleared out. These constructs being taken away. The strange singing one is sort of left, and do you try and stop the man called Ezio leaving? He attempts to take this jukebox with him and says that anything you have to do in regard to him, he can be informed of later.
No. I think you have some questions to answer, whoever you are.
In that case, he will complain, but he'll stay where he is for now as militia start filling in. You will get a moment alone with Livio, all three of you, outside, as in tears he tells you. To you, Pam, I assume you'd lead the interrogation? Or would you let someone else?
I would lead the interrogation. I think that Giulietta has done her softening charms already, which is what I wanted her to do.
In that case, yes, as you're waiting, backup coming from behind, you are told this. So they wanted, they said the drugs make them come back. They said the drugs make the constructs come back. They said they'd be able to experiment and then they could bring my wife and my child back. But obviously I needed to get them and then the Beccamoto, they my friend Ungue, he works with them, but they wanted my restaurant too for so long. But I said that they could have it. And my friend would help with the experiments as long as I got my wife and my child. But it wasn't them. They just gave me two random fucking people, poor people, and the drugs. They just make them go crazy. They just make the constructs go crazy. And they remember, but they don't remember. And Ungue and the scientists watched the feed. They saw the feed at the farm of the thing just killing people. And they just thought it was interesting. They thought it was interesting science. Those fuckers, it's all them. I admit, I'm guilty. I let the mob in. I've broken laws, but please make sure they're met with justice as well. And I thought Ungue, he was there. He set it up, but he's dead. He's dead. You see what happened? I'm so sorry. I wanted him to be free. Pam, this man is a wreck, an emotional wreck. He's telling you everything freely, happily, and he even, when asked, has files on him, showing transcripts that these scientists have been meeting here for quite some time. What do you say?
I say that I'll have to take him into custody for further questioning back at the Citadel.
He nods, very happy to cooperate. It's at this point that you are instructed that someone wants to speak to all three of you in a wagon, and you are led over to one of the steam wagons coming in, and you see a woman waiting for you in the wagon. This woman is dressed in a very smart uniform, and you all are aware that this woman is Gertrude Bertolli. She is one of the heads of the Citadel of Science. She is one of the leaders of the city itself. Extremely important. She quickly beckons all three of you to come and sit in the wagon. What do you do, Oleg? Again, all around you now are militia, clearing the place out. A lot of those Beccamorte you can see have run off, and those constructs are being brought out. What do you do?
I will take up a position outside the wagon, sort of a sentry, but I will listen in from the side.
Technofanti, you're wanted inside. Join us, please.
I just give a nod and follow my orders to go in and sit down.
You, militia woman, Pam, and you, the technophist, come in.
Okay.
Well, this is all very interesting, isn't it? We sent you out to find out the cause of a suicide, and you seem to have found something quite bigger than that. Wouldn't you agree, militia woman Pam?
Yes, I agree. Very, very revealing what we've found.
What are your thoughts on what you've seen? Be honest with me, please.
I'd rather collect my thoughts and come back to you at a later time.
No, I'd like to know now. Please. She smiles, but you realise that was an order.
I think that the way that we have been running our society is open to these kinds of threats. I think that we need a re-evaluation of how we set out our society to avoid these kind of criminal activities. It's not a balanced community of people that we thought it was.
We do our best, militia woman, we do our best. I will take what you say into consideration, but be careful of what you say. You're just a militia woman. You don't know anything about ruling a city. You, Technofantiman, what do you think of what you've seen?
I only follow orders. Scientists are important to protect, to discover the new ways of keeping people alive, making more people. It is unfortunate that some of them seem to need to be kept in check, but I will leave that decision to my betters.
A better answer. Good. You, Julieta, is it?
Yes.
Thoughts?
Well, my business is machines. Not governing. Or anything like that. So you can sort of tell that I'm really struggling to put an answer together, without blurting out what I really mean. So I could suggest some regulation to avoid any further mishaps, but I would have to agree with...
The regulations are already in place. It's clear you know what has occurred. These individuals, Ezio, he has been told several times that he needs to wait on some of his experiments. And unfortunately, he seems to have decided to take matters into his own hands. He will be dealt with. They all will be. But you understand, the three of you cannot speak of anything that has occurred here to the general populace. Yes?
Yes.
I grunt and I give a nod.
Good. Livio, he will be taken in. You can handle the questioning. Get everything you can from him and we will close this matter. It appears as if this has all been very, very unpleasant, but well done. You managed to prevent loss of life and protect the citizens of Florence. And for that, I am glad I sent the three of you. But again, not a word. You can imagine. She looks at you, Pam. You can imagine what people would think if they heard such things. This technology, if it did work, it would be wonderful, but it doesn't. We can't bring the dead back to life in that manner. Not yet, anyway. And even if we could... well, that is not something I'm discussing with the three of you. Anything to say? Any final reports? She looks down at a pad and obviously is getting all the information that you've given.
Nothing else to report.
Good. You may leave back to your posts. Your mission is complete.
And as we leave, I look at my two, colleagues, and I say, now we go and we drink. I want to tell you more about my wife.
Oh, yes, please. Let's do that. I need a drink.
Just as you're leaving, you see being carried away into a wagon this man, Livio, and he looks at you and he just yells out, "You'll make sure there's justice! Every single one of them! There'll be justice! There'll be justice, right? For Yunge!"
I look at him. I feel a pang of pity, especially his case is too close to my own, having lost someone close that you wish you could have kept. But you cannot trust the scientists to do so. They will only do what they can to further the survival of the race, and I think all that to myself.
Pam, what do you think? You heard what we were told. They will be dealt with means that they will be punished, but not to the level this man wants them punished. They will simply be taken off projects and kept out of the public eye. They are the scientists. The city needs them.
I believe justice will be served in the right way that it should be served, and so I'm happy with the decision that's been made. I don't want to be involved.
Giulietta, what of you? The man is now being put away, taken away. And yes, it seems this horrible incident is coming to a close, where no one will be told what has happened.
All I can think to myself is how unfair this all is, and how I don't believe the real justice will be done. But then again, to survive, I probably have to keep my head down, and at the end of the day, this is why I prefer the company of machines in my laboratory. They're uncomplicated. They don't betray each other.
All three of you can probably put two and two together as you go and have that drink. You don't think anyone hung Ungwe. He did it himself. You think because he couldn't live with what he had done. What had he done? He must have set up a camera to watch what happened for these experiments, and he would have seen what you saw, those poor people who just were trying to steal some kiwis being brutally destroyed by a malfunctioning, experimental, by the sounds of it, construct. And that is why he took his life. And so, a man will go and be blamed for all this, and sent to those mines, and another man will be taken down below, and his skin removed and tanned as he is turned into a farming construct. And the scientist and his colleagues will be reprimanded a little, annoyed that they were disrupted, annoyed that this all came to light because they would preferred for it to have been kept in the dark completely. And the Becca-Morty, well, they will wash their hands of the whole thing. Too much trouble. As the three of you enjoy your drink, Oleg, what are your final thoughts of this evening, this day?
I'm sticking to my theory. I think that, yes, he probably was trying to extort the people. I'm not thinking any longer than that. And this is the way that our society works now. I'm getting older, and they will not let me die. And with that, I will serve. I will do what good I can do. And all I can do is hope that it is for the better.
Pam, your final thoughts of this day?
I think I want to reevaluate my position in the militia. I think I've seen a lot about how our society is functioning, and I feel very bad about what had happened with the suicide and the lengths that people have had to go to achieve their end game. That's all.
And finally, Giulietta.
I start to think about how kind of broken the society is, and I start to think about the skills I've acquired over the years as a scavenger, my knowledge of how to get food, water, find usable objects outside of the city, and I start making loose plans in my head. Perhaps I could step outside of this civilization, perhaps I could free myself from its confines. But then I tell myself such things aren't possible, and the things work here the way they do. Maybe I'll be I can find peace in that.
And so the night goes on, and the living go to sleep. The dead do not sleep, though. They work through the night and the day. The dead, who so outnumber the living.
You have listened to an episode of Red Moon Roleplaying where we played Necrobiotic, which will be going up on Kickstarter next week. This episode has been sponsored by Penny for a Tale. Craig was our game master for this session, and we were happy to be joined by Eleanor Healing and Neha Orai. The music was created by Alpha Zone and Sabled Sun, and was used with permission from their label, Crowdchamber. Visit crowdchamber.bandcamp.com or their YouTube channel for more music for your games. We would like to give massive thanks to our champions of the Red Moon: Martin Heuschober, Nastasia Raulerson, Simon Cooper, David, Julia, Camilla, Ludwig Manford, and Bob Lange for their generous support. And we would of course also like to thank all of our other patrons. Without your support, this show would not be possible. If you want to support our work, please check us out on Patreon. You can get access to bonus campaigns for Cult of Divinity Lost and Coriolis there, as well as get early and raw access to all of our recordings. You can also hear your name read on the show as a champion of the Red Moon, as well as play Cult with us. Most importantly, that support is what keeps the show going, so do check us out there. Thank you for listening, and see you soon again.